Good evening, everyone. Ah, so sorry, my clocks are not synchronized. Okay. Anyway, just taking you all in, and hopefully you're taking each other in and enjoying the gathering of yogis of sanity. I've been excited about meeting this evening. Just the joy of stopping. I took to heart the quote that Mary included in the bulletin. Thank you, Mary, and thank you for co-hosting. From K. Kao Swang Luang. Didn't pronounce that right, probably. If we can stop and be still, mind will have a chance to be free, to contemplate its sufferings and then let them go. The odd, well, not odd, but the synchronistic truth is that I was thinking a lot about letting go today, about particularly forgiveness, just the shedding of the past, to free us to experience the life of the present moment, help return us to the intrinsic or natural sanity that exists in us as us, and that we find very quickly, actually, when we stop, just as that beautiful quote said, if you just stop. Unfortunately, the momentum of our life is doing, becoming, busy. And to reintroduce the stopping into our vocabulary, the stilling, the easing, the letting go, almost sounds like it's another language. So all of us carry the conditioning of the world. So it's in a way, it's not so personal that we are wound up. But that's why we hang out together, so that we remember that there's another language, the language of freedom, the language of letting go, language of stillness, of being aware, of being awake. So I'm always thankful for that reminder, and to be able to have the joy of reminding others as well. So let's just practice. I think we have enough of us to give each other a good lift, a support. Just know that you are offering support by being here tonight, and you are receiving support. So please draw on the focused attention that we bring together. One person is a lot, but when we'll have 60, 75 people or whatever eventually as the night goes on, that many people focusing on letting go is not a small thing. It has a ripple. So each of us plays our own part individually, and then we let our individuality melt into a field of love and attention. We start by the rare but so close opportunity to put our attention in our body, to have our attention and body come so close together that we realize that it's just one thing. It's bodyfulness, it's mindfulness, that's just one thing. Body's experience of its own life that includes mind. So let your eyes close softly. Let your body call you to its sensations, the sensations of sitting, that unique form and shape that comes from the body in this position. Notice how the feeling of the gentle stillness of the body just absorbs the busyness of our minds, and our mind starts coming into harmony with the body. And there's inevitably much more calm, even if we continue to feel the residue of our busy lives, the residue of our fatigue, anxiousness, worry, whatever it might be. We let our body absorb all of what has come before and release all that will come. We rest our attention here. We come to a single point. And from this single point, we can connect with each other, connect with everything, and feel the cries, laughter, all met much more graciously in the gentle stillness of the sitting body. We can't help but notice that our body is breathing if we stay here long enough. And if we don't try to mess with it too much and we just enjoy our body's breath, it will keep guiding us to a more calm abiding. We have to be willing to feel it and not miss any part of it, the duration of the in-breath and the out-breath. And even resting in the space between the breaths, if there is one. Noticing how stillness, quietness waits. And slowly our mind empties of its usual dramas and just fills with this simplicity, life. And we realize reality is just this moment, just this breath. It's not a story. It's not historical. It's just this. Hearing, sitting, breathing, feeling, even thinking when the thoughts come. So simple. Just this moment, just this breath, or whatever it is that lights up or pops up in this unfolding now. And just like we are conditioned by our busyness, we are just conditioned by our habits, our focus on what's next, the imagined future. And so you inevitably, or the past, which don't really exist, but we will think about them. And we likely will be lost in those thoughts. But eventually, mindfulness will re-arise and we'll realize, oh, I've been daydreaming or evening dreaming. But now I'm back and I can take this opportunity to settle back into the moment, to settle my mind back in my body. Feel it so intimately that all the concepts of even body and mind get absorbed into this ocean of direct experience. We just bathe in immediacy, supported by the waves of breath and the anchor of our body sitting, minus the words, just things as they are. Remembering that mindfulness, being aware, has no agenda other than to know the presently arising experience and meet it without reactivity. So remembering that there's nothing to do or undo or fix or figure out or solve. This is the healing power of meditative awareness. Just being aware. Just this moment, just this breath, or whatever it is that lights up in our awareness. Really lovely sitting with you, knowing you were there. Just to give us a little bit more of a sense of being together, feel free to say good evening to each other. Feel free to say where you're calling in from. And the more cameras, the better. It can be a real sangha. Don't be
Hi, I'm Laura.
bashful. Hi, Laura.
Hi.
Late at Maryland.
I am Nancy from Novato
Hey, Nancy.
for tonight, but in about 6 weeks, I'll be Nancy from Petaluma.
From
I'll be
where? Where are you moving to?
moving to Petaluma
Petaluma.
in 6 weeks. So, but tonight, Novato.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Victor from San Francisco.
Hi, Victor. Welcome. Nice to have
Thank
you
you.
with us.
I'm Daryl from Lafayette.
Hi, Daryl.
Mary from Santa Barbara.
Hi, Mary.
Madison from San Francisco.
Madison. Wherever you are. Oh, yeah, there you are. Glad to see you.
I'm Steve from San Francisco.
Hello, Steve. So good to have you with us.
Thank you. Good to be here.
David from Burlingame.
Hey,
Hi.
David.
Melinda, San Francisco.
Hey, Melinda.
Catherine, San Francisco.
Great. Hello, Catherine.
Nina from Carmel Valley.
Hello, Nina.
Angela, San Francisco.
Hello, Ajala.
David and Priscilla from San Francisco.
Hello, David and Priscilla, wherever you are. Oh,
This is
and Mark.
Also
Hey, Mark.
from San Francisco. Hi, Howie.
Good to see you.
Katie from San Francisco.
Great. San Francisco is really coming on strong. I love it.
Allie, I'm from Oakland.
Hello, Allie from Oakland, wherever you are.
Did you?
Where I missed. Anyway, I'm on a smaller computer tonight, so it's a little bit like an impressionist painting, but anyway, very glad to be with you. Sitting with you was a very fertile environment tonight for Dharma. Even though I wanted to, the intention was to just dwell in the healing seclusion of silence, mind free of all content, all imagined future and past, but that was the best laid plans. Those were the best laid plans. What actually happened was a lot of inspiration, Dharma inspiration, and part of it was seeing a few faces who were with me on a retreat, both recently in San Francisco at Fort Mason. We had a day long, and then this past weekend I was leading a retreat in Phoenix, and I'm at my mom's house in Arizona now, on my way to lead a retreat in Austin, Texas this weekend. And I really was feeling the force, in a way, the force of the cumulative force of, in spite of everything that's happening in the world, that's so hard to bear in so many ways that I can hardly name all the different causes of heartache and stress. But with all of that, in the middle of it all, there are pockets of sanity, and many, many people doing wonderful things, and many, many people adding not more contentiousness, more anger, more outrage to the world, more othering, but people adding more peace and forgiveness and letting go. Just getting back to that beautiful quote that Mary put in the bulletin. Stopping. And I couldn't help but think during the sitting of the three pillars of the Dharma, of Dana, Sila, Bhavana. Dana being generosity, Sila being harmlessness or practicing virtue, wise, loving conduct. And then the last part, Dana is generosity, Sila is conduct. And then the last one is Bhavana, mind training. All three of the main pillars of the Dharma are what are the foundational ingredients for liberation, for the liberation of our hearts. Which means ending in our hearts the cause of war. It's putting aside the causes and conditions that lead to suffering, mental suffering, and cause more suffering for ourselves and others. The three foundations, all centered on letting go, are Dana, Sila, Bhavana. And we are here together tonight. I'm able to do this with you, be with you, because I have been supported by the retreat at Fort Mason. I've been supported by the yogis who sat with me in Phoenix, and your support is allowing me to move on to the retreat in Austin. Without that foundation of generosity, which is the river on which the whole Dharma has flowed for thousands of years, there would be no bastion of sanity, pod of peace. There would be no gathering. There would be none of the joy none of the reminders of the joy that comes from letting go, the joy that comes from being together. Keep being reminded that the Sangha, what Thich Nhat Hanh said about the next Buddha being the Sangha. There wouldn't be any of this if it wasn't for that river of generosity. So right from the beginning, the example, not just the benefit of all that generosity, but the infusion of the spirit of generosity in the hearts of people who have practiced for thousands of years. The whole point in setting up the system of dana, of generosity, the system of mutual generosity, was to make it possible for those who were interested to see for themselves what would happen if one infuses one's mind and one's habit, one's thoughts, with thoughts of generosity. What would happen? And the way the Buddha talked about it, but didn't necessarily think that you should believe him, but he said there is joy in the thought of giving, there's joy in the act of giving, and there's joy in the memory of having given. And that the experience of giving is an experience of letting go. And that joy is coming from saying, I'm not going to hold on. I'm going to give, and I'm going to give with a heart that's glad to offer. And so it's the very foundation, the first teaching that the Buddha offered to people like us, lay people, was to be generous, because that's something we could actually connect with without ever meditating. Because a lot of people cannot so easily sit down. They're just too wired, or too wounded, or too many conditions have to come together for us to even be able to tolerate stopping in that way that that beautiful quote reminded. But one thing that people can do, and a doorway to beginning to drop in, is to practice generosity. Now, tonight I'm mentioning it in the context of teacher Dana or community Dana, where we share, we support the community, we support the teachers so that the practice continued. But the Buddha's teaching on generosity was meant to be able to practice that letting go in every aspect of your life, letting go of your time and your resources and your stuff, and just to be a benefit and to experience the freedom that comes from that. But of course, he didn't stop there. The letting go, the second foundation of mindfulness, another thing that makes communities like this so generally, and of course not absolutely because we are imperfect, but what makes them generally so delicious and safe is that we practice the letting go of the causes of interpersonal, of community suffering, which is killing and stealing and being and not respecting people's bodies and lives, and lying and cheating and stealing and clouding our perception with intoxicants. And we practice the letting go of the causes of worldly suffering, which is so much based on conduct. You know, in the Tibetan tradition, I don't always elaborate on this, but the classic prayer is may I, may you, may we be happy and know the causes of happiness. And that usually in that, you've heard that, may I be happy and know the causes of, and have the causes of happiness. But what's often included in that phrase is, may I be happy and the causes of and the cause of may I have happiness and the cause of happiness, which is virtue. So it's very much the happiness that is possible in this world depends on letting go of that which is, and the second one is, may I be free of suffering and the cause of suffering, which is non-virtue. So letting go of those causes of suffering through our body, speech, and mind is, it creates a beautiful environment. Now, of course, we would like to spread it to the entire world, and that is part of our aspiration, that everybody experiences happiness and the cause of happiness, which is virtue, that everybody experiences freedom from suffering and the causes of suffering. But at least we practice it here, and then we move on to the people who have to live around us every day, and then you are actually helping me to keep spreading that reminder to the next community and the next community, and you may not realize this and think about this every day, but you are part of a net of interbeing, of interdependence, part of a river of letting go, part of part of a river of goodness. And I don't mean to be Pollyannish. This is not, we're not solving the world's problems, but we are infusing life in the best way, in one of the best ways that we can. Not the only way, every possible way that we can give. It's a wonderful thing to remember that any kind of generosity, any kind of activism that is well informed, that's not just reactive, that not just making assumptions and beliefs about things you don't know enough about, but studying all of that is, and learning and learning and learning, that itself is an act of generosity and giving, because there's nothing that causes us to be part of the cause of harm, even when our intentions are good, is ignorance, is confusion. And that leads to the third pillar of the Dharma, the third foundation of the Dharma, the third foundation of letting go. So there's dana, generosity, there's sila, conduct, and then there's bhavana, the training of the heart and mind. The training of the heart and mind to incline toward loving kindness. Remember the Buddha's line, whatever you frequently think about and dwell upon becomes the inclination of the mind. You think about greed, you think about hatred, anger, frustration, you think about others, you think about good, better, best. If you think about whatever you think about becomes the inclination of your mind. If you think about the past, obsess about the past, the opposite of letting go, it's holding on. Part of the beauty of forgiveness is it's actually saying, this is the beginning of my new life. This is the beginning of letting go of the past, so I can, and letting my heart go so that I can actually give to this world. So I can give that light and love to this world. And we need that light against our beings and against each other's beings. I was thinking that poem from Hafez says, how did the rose ever open its heart and give to this world all its beauty? It felt the encouragement of light against its being. Otherwise, we all remain too frightened. And the fright of the past, of the imagined future, past, future, fear. The fear body feeds on thoughts of past and future. And anything that can allow us to let go in the form of forgiveness, it's a beautiful thing. That's inclining our mind. That's training our mind to let go. You've heard over and over again from Ajahn Chah, if you let go a little, you'll have a little peace. If you let go a lot, you'll have a lot of peace. If you let go completely, you'll have complete peace and freedom. And lately I've been reading, I read, for some reason, Thich Nhat Hanh has really been in my consciousness lately. Recently deceased, wonderful Zen master, but he waxed a lot about the impact of one, especially when they were evacuating Saigon during the Vietnam War, and there all these terrified people on these small boats packed with people. If one person was peaceful and meditated, then the likelihood that they would survive was increased dramatically. The power of one person who is peaceful. So inclining the mind toward peace, it comes through letting go. So the mind training, how does that lead to letting go? Of course, inclining the mind toward love. Love is a letting go, is not being stingy with our vital energy, with our goodwill. It's just giving forth. And what's that beautiful poem? It's another Sufi ecstatic poet. It says, what is the, I'm going to try to remember it. These are extemporaneous talks, so forgive me. Isn't it true that everyone you see is saying to you, love me, love me? Of course, they don't say it out loud, otherwise someone would call the cops. Look at us, this dire desire in us to connect. Then he ends the poem by saying, why don't you become the one with the full moon in each eye, giving to each person what they're longing to hear? We whatever you frequently dwell upon, if you frequently dwell upon loving kindness, and I know that I repeat myself a lot, but whenever I think of cultivating loving kindness, I remember the transformative experience that I had when I moved to San Francisco. And I found it to be relative to my previous home in Tucson, which was down home and people said hello and they connected and they felt just by and large safer because smaller cities generally feel a little safer. But I felt like a stranger in a strange land, and it felt kind of cold to me. And people didn't look at you, they were afraid. And so rather than just dwell on how cold everyone is and impersonal, I just started under my breath saying, may you be happy, may you be happy, may you be happy. I love you, I love you, I love you, may you be happy. I call it stealth metta, just nobody knows you're doing it. And it was remarkable. It just completely changed the way that I felt. And I felt so much happier. And then somehow San Francisco seemed friendlier, and people actually were friendlier. So we have a big part in letting go of our views, our opinions, our demands, our desires, our ideas of ourself. So many things we cling to that if we could learn to let go, we just have a happier world. I was thinking during the sitting, you can tell it was kind of fertile, completely unbidden. I was thinking of Bob Marley, and then I was also thinking of Viktor Frankl, the book Man's Search for Meaning, where he said they can incarcerate me, but they can't incarcerate my mind. And Bob Marley, who said, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. And that was inspired by Marcus Garvey, started the Black, I forgot what it was called, the Black African National something. I forgot the name of the organization. But he said they can incarcerate our bodies, but none but ourselves can incarcerate our minds. And so there's so much power within us to both practice ourselves and to share with other people, the ones who are interested, of course, not to proselytize. But that third part of the foundation of letting go, bhavana, is training in the conditions that lead to concentration. And that just means gathering our mind into our body again and again and again. And it's inevitable that if you keep your mind in your body and your body in your mind, and you don't let your mind leave your body in your daily life, and you whatever flavor of that quote that Mary put in the bulletin, you stop. You do a lot of quickies. You stop. You will have that letting go of the stream of distress, of rushing, of becoming, of fixating on dates and times and calendars and accomplishments, and at least balanced it with taking your time, taking a breath. But if you just, when in all the breaks, you keep your mind close to your body, that creates a lot of wholeness, a lot of strength, a lot of resilience. And that also allows you to see more clearly what's going on in your mind. And if there's anything that all of us need some letting go of, is that maniacal voice in our mind of unworthiness, inadequacy, of judgment, of comparison, of whatever version of not enough, insufficiency, lack, the opportunity to let go of, even for a moment, of a view of yourself, of a thought of yourself, and be able to see that a thought of yourself is not yourself, and to relate to that thinking mind differently, and then to actually sense what you actually are on present evidence, to sense that you, like Thich Nhat Hanh said, that you are the richest person on earth. The idea of you is completely the opposite, but the reality in real time, not the historical view, not the secondhand view, but the real time experience is you're cool. You're unique. You're awake. And if you stay here long enough, that presence of mind expresses itself as real sensitivity and real caring, and real sense of belonging. The mind that is caught in that maniacal world of our self ideas often feels so separate, cut off, lonely. And it's interesting, even if I'm alone, even if we, I can say we in this case, even if we're alone, when we really settle into that aloneness, the loneliness often gives way to a sense of aloneness, which is fullness. It's not so harsh. I'm not saying that people don't have legitimate loneliness that comes from not having enough contact. That's that's something that we all, I think that should be in some ways the hub around which a lot of our life, we could really let go a lot of our distress if we found ways of being together a little bit more. But a lot of our isolation is because we're just lost in our minds. So dana, sila, bhavana. So the first part is the conditions that lead to concentration and the training of mindfulness, making the disparate strings of mindfulness cull together into a very strong rope of attention, so that life becomes pretty concentrated in real time. And then real time, the letting go happens naturally. What do we let go of? We let go of the imagined past. It doesn't exist anyway. We let go of the imagined future. It doesn't exist. We find that our whole life is right here. And if we're actually going to help, it's got to be right here. If we're going to help ourselves, it's got to be right here, and it's got to be right now, not at the end of the rainbow, not in the next life. But this is where it's at. So ideally, for all of us, and you want to be an example of this for the people in your life, that you want to be able to, like Alan Watts says, to dig the present and groove with the eternal now. I can say dig the present, but the truth is we don't like the present very much. Our mind is mostly dwelling on where we'd rather be. Probably right now, you've probably had enough of this Dharma talk. But that's aversion in the mind, and we can actually work with that. Oh, isn't aversion interesting? Isn't my mind however it's reacting right now? Isn't that interesting? So that we don't reach out of this moment to find what we're looking for. And the bhavana, the training of our mind, just keeps reminding us that peace is an inside job. It's not something that we get from the world. Of course, we want peace in the world, but there may not be. But we can be at peace with the world, and it truly is the natural state of our own mind when we're not looking ahead and not looking back. And that's why in the Zen tradition, their number one vow is to choose what's here. Not because what is here is easy to bear and easy to be with and easy to manage, but because this is where it's at. And if I put my trust in awareness, put my trust in my capacity to be here, and I stay here, a lot of what allows me to function well and skillful in communication and action and do the things that I need to have to do for a life and for the lives of my loved ones, it comes so much easier when that intuitive awareness is cultivated. So the letting go of past and future that comes through bhavana, through training our mind, it's all letting go. It's all stopping. Just like, and I think I'll take the chance to read that passage once more. If we can stop and be still, mind will have a chance to be free, to contemplate its sufferings and then let them go. So I think that's good in the beginning, good in the middle, good in the end. Let go, let go. Do you know Ajahn Sumedho, one of my favorite teachers? I had the great good fortune of hanging around him a lot over the years. A quote that I've shared many times, but not everybody in here has heard it, is about him in his book called Chitta Viveka, which is the book on letting go. He said, for those who, this is useful for those who tend to think a lot. He says, I simplified my practice down to just 2 words. So you don't even need to think of dana, sila, bhavana. Just simplify your practice down to 2 words. Let go. He says, rather than try to develop this practice and go into that and achieve this and go into that and learn the sutras and study Buddhist psychology, Abhidhamma, learn the Pali and the Sanskrit and the Madhyamaka and the Prajnaparamita, get ordained and become a world expert on Buddhism, just let go. Because being an expert on Buddhism and being invited to great international Buddhist conferences, it's just let go. He says, I did nothing but this for about 2 years. Every time anything would come up, I'd say, let go, until the desire would fade out. He says, so I'm trying to save you from getting caught in incredible amounts of suffering. He says, there is nothing more sorrowful than having to attend international Buddhist conferences. Now, some of you, he says, want to become the Buddha of the age, Maitreya, radiating love throughout the world. But I suggest just being an earthworm, letting go of the desire to radiate love throughout the world. Just be an earthworm who knows only 2 words. Let go, let go, let go. Because he's identified with the Theravada tradition of Buddhism, which is sometimes called the Hinayana, or the lesser vehicle. He says ours is the lesser vehicle. So we have only these simple poverty-stricken practices. But I think the simple is better. Let go, let go. I think we should all have it on our wall. Let go, let be, as is. Be free. Give, gather, see clearly. Give, gather, and see clearly. So May we all awaken. May we all let go. May we all be a blessing to this suffering world. May we all live with ease. Thanks for your attention. Any quick comments or questions? We have a couple minutes before we have to stop. And don't hesitate to use the raised hand function. And I'll call on you. If you don't know where it is, it's under the reactions.
Quick question.
Oh, sure. Please feel free.
Thank you. What kind of book can I read between the various meditations? How can I keep my practice? I'm a returning practitioner, and I have an open mind. So what's your recommendation? Thank you.
Oh boy, a book. Well, I like it's an old book, but I think it's two inspiring books by two of my mentors. First one, co-authored by Joseph Goldstein and Jack Kornfield, called Seeking the Heart of Wisdom. Marvelous book. And then to me, the classic, which was a 30 transcripts from a 30-day meditation retreat with the essential teachings embedded in it and questions and answers, a book called The Experience of Insight by Joseph Goldstein. So those two are just, and then Jack Kornfield's book, A Path with Heart, quite wonderful. That's more the Western flavor, the preeminent teachers. Highly recommend those. I think that's enough for now. Anyone else about your practice tonight or any of the teachings? Okay. Mary, I guess it's on to you.
Thanks, Howie. Okay, folks, we have a few events coming up. So one of which is in July 29th through August 4th is going to be a retreat, the Spirit of Insight. It's on the land at Spirit Rock, and it is with the teachers of the SF Insight Dharma Center, of which Howie is one. So that includes John Martin, Anushka Ferdinand-Pooley, Eugene Cash, Pam, and Victoria Carey. And so we have priority registration just through the end of tomorrow. And then after that, Spirit Rock will open it up to the general public. And after that, it may sell out rather quickly. So they save this space because it is for the San Francisco Insight Dharma Center. So it would be lovely to practice with you all. It would be lovely to spend, 6 nights in each other's presence and practicing. So that's exciting. And then Howie is having a online retreat on Sunday, March 24th. It's through Spirit Rock, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And so that is online, and you can register through Spirit Rock. I have the link there. And then I also want to just let you know about a half-day retreat sponsored by the SF Dharma Center called Building a Foundation of Love, a half-day meditation retreat for BIPOC folks with Victoria Carey, who will be here with us next week. And so that's going to be in person at the San Francisco Buddhist Center, and there's more information in the chat. And of course, Howie has already given the Dharma talk. So this is your opportunity to experience the offering of Dana, to feel the joy of that. And so you can do it via Venmo, Admission Dharma, PayPal, and other means. So that's also in the chat. So Thank you so much for your kind generosity and for your patience. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary, and thank you for all your generosity. Just a reminder that my day long through Spirit Rock is entitled Calming the Restless Mind. So it's really about settling some of our agitation and distress and restlessness and worry and all that stuff. So love to see you all there, but that's an online retreat. And now I just want to invite you, those who are left, to unmute and say goodnight to each other and put each other to bed. Anyway, thanks for your practice. Love being with you.
Thank you, Harry. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, Howie. Good night, everyone.